Hello, my name is Maria Asp, and I am the Neighborhood Bridges Program Director, and we are sitting in the lobby of the Children's Theater Company in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The Neighborhood Bridges Program is a critical literacy program that uses storytelling, theater, writing, and improvisation to animate young people to become the storytellers of their own lives. What do we mean by a critical literacy program? So we are using stories as a way to provoke thinking. We use the stories always in the context of asking questions of them. Some basic questions might include, who has a voice in this story? Who doesn't? Who gets to make rules or laws in the story? Who's missing in this story? What are values or assumptions that are in this text, with our goal of transforming the texts, not to meet my ideology, but the ideology of the students. So it's about transforming the narrative to reflect their thinking. We use a lot of storytelling games. We draw from Gianni Rodari and his book Grammar of Fantasy, and heavily upon the writing and long work of Professor Jack Zipes, who with our artistic director Peter Brocious founded this program. And we started with 2 classrooms, and now we have 22 classrooms in Minneapolis and St. Paul. We work with children in the inner city. We partner with 22 different classrooms for an entire school year. So a teaching artist partners with a classroom teacher for 2 hours each session, with 1 hour of planning for 31 weeks. And the program culminates with the students creating original plays that are performed right there on our main stage. This program has a lot of elements to it. So not only is the artist working with one, you could say one community is the classroom community, and theater providing one opportunity for community building within a classroom. The art form itself relies on people to, everybody's necessary. Another goal, a philosophical principle of our program, is autonomous thinking. We are hopefully providing tools and strategies for kids to think for themselves and to be able to enjoy discourse and enjoy hearing multiple perspectives around any issue. So rather than seeking one truth of a text, we're trying to mine many perspectives. So a kind of culture, rather than a culture of we all have to think one way or we all have to agree, a great celebration of disagreement and listening and being challenged occurs within the classroom. Each classroom has a pen pal classroom somewhere within the city that despite the fact the schools are all in Minneapolis or all in St. Paul, can look completely different from them. So they write to their pen pals throughout the year, and then usually around February or March, they meet their pen pal here and they see a play together, and then they actually spend the afternoon doing activities together, which is magical. And then in the spring, in some cases, we actually have, next year we'll have 4 evenings of the play celebrations, but in some cases then they're also performing in front of their pen pals. It's usually 6 to 7 classrooms each night. I thought I knew a thing or two about teaching theater and about this profession of working with kids, but then all of a sudden I was like, whew. There's a completely different experience when you are working with kids and you're directing them in a play, and when you are suddenly the facilitator that's helping them tell their story. And so it's about empowering the students rather than teaching them, if that makes sense. So much of teaching is about replicating a narrative rather than transforming a narrative. We actually work a lot with them about teaching them to defy the narrative structure. And it's our hope that if they are able to narrate their own story, that these will be the citizens that narrate our laws and our literature and our policies. Once upon a time, there was a professor that always wore a suit coat and had books piled up all over his office. And he met an artistic director named Peter Brocious, who was full of energy, and both of these people had a desire to give a gift back to the community, but they knew that their gift wasn't really a gift if it depended on either of them or if it depended on a small group of people, but that the real gift that they could give to their city, to their state, would be the gift of being able to reimagine the world. And so these men set out by training a small group and working with 60 kids. And those kids had so much fun that they didn't even know they were learning. They thought that it was just that they were being rewarded for thinking, and they were being rewarded for contradicting the teacher and questioning the teacher in a way that they hadn't had before. And the naughtiest kids that were always getting suspended were suddenly soaring in the context of this program. And it grew and it grew and it grew. And the fairy tale and the story will only be reimagined over and over and over until it's not recognizable anymore. If I can teach them anything, if I can teach them how to not be dependent on authority figures to look for answers, if I can provide them with any skills on how to organize, and how to organize in a way to get their voice out and to get their voice to be heard, to be heard on the children's theater main stage, or to be able to write, if they can find the vehicle through fantasy, through whatever form, but if I can help give them the tools to get their voices out, that they're going to go beyond anything that I can do in my life. I'm unbelievably curious about the communities that I work with, and I am benefiting and learning and becoming a better person every moment that I enter a community that I don't typically have access to. And so it's a real partnership. I'm learning from them as much as I might be teaching them.